This video is an introduction to exponents. So here I have 13 to the 9th. That is how we say that one. And the 13 is the base, and the 9 is the power. So 13 to the 9th. Now x squared, if you take something times itself, that's called x squared. And if you take something times itself 3 times, that's like y times y times y. We call that one y cubed. All right, so let's try these. Here we have 19 times itself 3 times. So that means 9 cubed. And now I have something, let's see, I have 4 hundredths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times itself 6 times. So that means 4 hundredths to the 6th power. I have 1/3 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's times itself 5 times, so that means 1/3 to the 5th power. Now here, 7 is not being taken times itself. It's just x times itself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So that would be 7 times x to the 6th. And now my 9b is multiplied times itself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So that means 9b is in parentheses, and that's all being taken to the 8th power. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one would be 4fg to the 5th. And now I have negative 10 times itself 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So that means negative 10 all to the 4th power. And then here, the negative is on its own. 8 is times itself 1, 2, 3 times. So that is negative, and then times 8 cubed. So when you see that, you can think it's the opposite of 8 cubed, or you can also think of it, it's really like a little negative 1 times 8 cubed. So just be on the lookout for that one. That one's a little bit tricky. Excellent. All right, so let's just get used to this new terminology. The base is my 7, so that's the base, and my exponent is the 9. Okay, here the n is the exponent, the n exponent. And then the base is the m. And let's see, convert the exponential expression into multiplication and then solve. So here, just we can expand that out. 2 cubed means 2 times 2 times 2. So then we can simplify that. This is 4 times another 2. So that is 8. 3 squared means 3 times 3, and that's 9. Here's this one that we just looked at before. Negative, I would read this one as the opposite of 4 squared. So this one is negative times 4 times 4. So this one is a negative 16. And next one, we have this one, we have an entire negative 3 times itself 4 times. So negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. So then simplifying that, negative times negative gives us a positive 9 times another positive 9. So that one is a positive 81. And here, what we've got is x cubed, so x times x times x. And then that's times x to the 4th, so times x times x times x. So we've got x times itself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So that simplifies to x to the 7th. And look what happened if I just added those exponents. 3 plus 4 gives me the correct exponent, x to the 7th. So let's try this one. We can do just adding up our exponents. N to the 6th times n to the 4th would be n to the 6th plus 4. So that should be n to the 10th. And we can just verify that by expanding it out. N to the 6th would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 n's times themselves. N to the 4th is 1, 2, 3, 4 n's times themselves. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we should you'll expand it out and you'll see that you'll get that correct number when you just add those exponents. Okay, so when you're multiplying powers, you just get to add your exponents. So that one's called the product rule. Now the power rule is if, for example, here x to the third, so that's being taken to the fifth. So we've got this thing times itself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And the thing that's being taken to the fifth is x cubed. So we've got x cubed times itself 5 times. So that gives us 5 sets of 3 x's. And so then you can see those all combine up to x to the 15th. And that's what you would get if we multiplied powers there. Okay, so if you're taking something to an additional power, then you multiply. All right, and then the other rule is you can distribute powers. So here the power is a third, and so we took everything within this product inside the parentheses. You take so 2x cubed to the third power. You can take the 2 to the third power, and you also get to take the x cubed to the third power. So 2 to the third is 2 times 2 times 2, so that's 8. And then here we get to multiply exponents. 3 times 3 is 9, so that ends up being 8x to the 9th. Okay, let's try this next one. Here, what's going on between these two powers is multiplication. So I'm going to add exponents here. So I would get x to the 12th times x to the 4th. We would just add the 12 and the 4 and get x to the 16th. And here, what's going on between those is multiplication. So I've got x squared times y to the 4th times 3x. We didn't even need the parentheses there. I'm going to go ahead and just use commutative property. I'm just going to actually commute that whole 3x out to the front. So 3x times x squared y to the 4th. And then that would be 3x times x squared. That means x times x, and then times y to the 4th. And then we have x times itself 3 times. 3x cubed y to the 4th. You could have right back in here, x is the same as an x to the 1 power. And then we could have added 1 plus 2 to get that x cubed. All right, now the thing that's going on here is I have something to a power. So that's the power rule I need to multiply. So I'm going to take 4 times 3 and I'll get x to the 12th. Okay, and we can kind of see why. Okay, so that cubed means take this thing times itself 3 times. And then what is it that's being cubed? It's x to the 4th. So we've got x times x times x times x times another x times x times x times x times another x times x times x times x. So this is 3 sets of 4 x's. And that's 12. All right, your turn. Pause the video, work on these, and see what you can come up with. All right, on this first one, we're going to multiply because that's a power. That 4 is taken to, that's a power. So we use the power rule, we multiply there. And then this next one, we are going to distribute that third power to both the 2 and the n. So we'd end up with 8n cubed. And then here we're going to use, on this next one, we're going to distribute that 4 to both the x and the y as well. So we'd get x to the 4th over y to the 4th. All right, try this next couple ones. Pause the video, see how you do. All right, on these next ones, there was a couple different steps that needed to be done on those. So how can we tell when to multiply and when to distribute? Because all of these have a power. So it's confusing, right? Sometimes I'm saying multiply and sometimes distribute. But notice I multiply because this, inside the parentheses, there is a power. And you notice here in this parentheses, there's no power. So when you're distributing, you see how those guys don't have powers. Now, this one does have a power. So first you had to distribute, and then you also had to multiply, because once you distributed it, there was that y squared all to the third power. So sometimes you actually have to do both. And that could be the case up here with division too. You could conceivably have x squared over y cubed or something like that, and then have to distribute and then multiply. So just take it step by step, do the thing on the outside first, and then just kind of start working to simplify it as much as you can.